name is Denise Spellman. I am the Financial Aid Director, and I've been here at Dillard University for a little over 6 years.
So the reason why we're here is to tell your story and to also bring awareness to breast cancer. So can you just start by telling me, what was your journey? How did you learn that you have breast cancer, and how did you feel when you found out?
Absolutely. For those of you who are watching, many of you know me but may not know my story. I am an 11-year breast cancer survivor. My journey started in 2011. January of 2011, I'm usually really busy. Besides being a sign language interpreter and a financial aid director, I also do decorations and organize and set up parties and events and weddings. So I was preparing for a friend of mine's wedding, and I was doing her decoration for the church and the reception, and I noticed I was a little tired, which was abnormal because I'm always busy. And I was also in the midst of preparing for my 25th wedding anniversary. And it was February, I think it was around February the 5th, 2011, when I was preparing, creating a centerpiece for my catering table. I had a pain that hit me under my arm, and it was out of the blue, so I kind of brushed it off, and I continued to make the centerpiece. And then all of a sudden, I felt a more intense pain. So I felt under my arm, and that's when I felt a lump. And it concerned me. So that was a Saturday. So that Monday, I called my primary care physician, and she immediately contacted the breast center to get me in to just have a mammogram, just to make sure. And I usually have yearly mammograms. So they had been checking or tracking something in my left breast, but it never was anything. They ran tests and said it was nothing to be concerned about. So over the years, like I said, I get yearly mammograms. But so when she called, and she was able to get me an appointment in that Tuesday. But that Monday I went to work, and I expressed concern to my coworker and my supervisor, and everybody was like, "Oh, don't worry about it, because you felt a pain. It's probably nothing. It's probably nothing to concern about, because usually when you have cancer, there's no pain associated with it." So I was like a little relieved. And so when my appointment came the next day, which was that Tuesday, I went to the breast center, and they did an examination on me, and then they set up the mammogram at the same time. So the physician that was doing the testing and the exam, she indicated that it was suspicious, and she thought it could be breast cancer. And I just was in denial, because I was like, no, we haven't even done complete test yet. How can you tell me that? And then so they did the mammogram, and it came up suspicious, and so they did an ultrasound. And then thereafter they did series of exams, biopsy, and my worst nightmare was confirmed that it was a malignant cancer, and it had already spreaded. So what I felt under my arm was a tumor that had developed because it had already spread it to my lymph nodes. So they continued with a series of tests, and when the physician confirmed it, I went into the office, and they confirmed that it was a malignant tumor, and it was confirmed that it was breast cancer. You could have knocked me over with a feather. I was just had an out-of-body experience, because I couldn't believe it. But I kept my faith, and I just expressed at that very first moment that I'm going to get through this, and I just wanted more details of what to expect, what I needed to do, what it would, what my journey would be like in that first phase of testing and treatments and everything. And so as I stated, they continued to do treatments and tests and biopsy, and then they inserted some type of metal or some type of tracker that they can track the location of both areas, because there was also a lump that was in the breast as well as under my arm. So then, as I stated, I was preparing for my 25th wedding anniversary, which would have been February the 10th. So they allowed me to go ahead and continue with that before they set me up for surgery, because they had to do surgery and put the port in me so they can start the chemo infusion. So we went forward with the celebration, and that was on a Saturday. And the following Monday, I was scheduled to have the port input, and then the following Wednesday of that same week, they started the chemo infusion. Now, I just had the surgery, so it was very tender, and also it was very, hard to endure. But, it was hard for me not only to accept the fact that I was diagnosed with breast cancer, but to know what I was going to have to endure with going through the treatment. In my day and age, you would hear, and I know times have changed, the medical field has improved, but when I was growing up, you would hear a person with cancer, chemo, and death. So I always equated cancer, chemo to death. So if, I didn't know, because it was unfamiliar with me, although the doctors were sharing and I was asking questions, I still questioned the fact that, is this the end for me? And although my faith is very strong, I started to question God, to say, why? I follow your will, I do your work, I'm a vessel for you, why is this happening to me? And so I realized, why not? And as I started to go through the treatment, my very first day of treatment, knowing that I'm about to get infused with this poison, which is a chemotherapy, but it's to kill the cells, the bad cells. I was sitting on the 5th floor of Ochsner Cancer Center, and I was looking out the window, and it was such a beautiful day. The sun was shining, and I stopped having my pity party, and because I would have sleepless nights and walk on the floor wondering if I'm about to succumb, if I'm about to die, what's going to happen. I had a young daughter. So I sat in that chair waiting for them to put this huge hook needle into my port. And I just looked out the window, and instead of me questioning God or having a pity party, I just say, God, thank you. Thank you for selecting me to go through this, because this was beyond me. I know it's not my fault that I have it. So I knew He would get me through it. And excuse me if I get a little full, because it's like reliving it. But I just thanked Him for selecting me, because if I'm going through it, I must be going through it for a reason. And I asked Him to help me through it, and I trust Him. And I knew I would make it through, and I just wanted to be a living, breathing, walking testimony to be able to help someone else.
Yes. And that's what you are right now. And I like that you said you understood that it was nothing that you did. So can we elaborate on that? Because most people, they get breast cancer or any form of cancer, and it's like, what did I do to cause it? Was it something I ate? Was it something I took, like medication? But can you expound on that to let people know that it could just be stuff in the air, chemicals and stuff? What would you say to them to ease their mind?
So I just turned all of my cares over to God, because I knew He would work it out. And as I stated, I know this was bigger than me, so I knew the battle was not mine, but it was His. And that if I stood on His word and trust and believe that I can get through it. And as I stated, it was not of my own fault that I had it. In fact, when I went through, I do have an aunt who had breast cancer, and she succumbed to it. But when they did geneograph, or when they went through my history of hereditary, they found out it was not hereditary because of our hereditary background, but that in fact the breast cancer was in fact environmental. So I had that done and did learn that it was environmental. I do not know what in the environment, whether it was something I ate or whether something I breathed in or what may have caused that. I don't know those details, but the fact that it wasn't something that I inflicted upon myself, that I knew that God had selected me to go through it for a purpose.
Absolutely. So can you tell me a little bit about how was the chemo treatment? What was that like, actually, like the physical process of you enduring chemo?
Whew. It was harsh. I do want to start by saying, although it was harsh for me, it may not be the same for others. So I want to put the disclaimer out there. I don't want someone to see this video and hear what I'm about to describe as something they will go through and may have reluctance of going through treatment. That's not the purpose of this. Like I say, everyone doesn't go through it the same way. I've known other breast cancer survivors who never had any problems during their treatment. But I had 4 series of chemotherapy treatment. The first 4 treatments, it was harsh. It was, but I endured it. It caused me not to be able to taste different things, to have a numbness in my fingers and weakness. And by the time I got strong enough, after time passed from the treatment and I was building up my strength, it was time to go through it again. So it kind of zapped me out a little bit. But I have strong will and determination, so I didn't let that get me down, because when I was able to build enough strength, I was going back to work despite. But it caused me to lose all of my hair. The second dose of treatment, of the chemotherapy treatment, was Taxotere, and it really, it was bad for me. My first treatment was so severe. I had every allergic reaction to it. And as my oncologist indicated to me, I had every allergic reaction except death, and I was close to that. So during the 4 treatments of that chemotherapy, I got where I could not walk. I couldn't talk. My tongue had swollen up, so I couldn't really speak. My hands had swollen up, so I couldn't move my hands. I lost all the skin off my hands, front and back. I lost all my fingernails, all my toenails. I lost the skin from under my feet. And it was so tender that nothing could touch it. I turned extremely dark. My face, and from the calf of my leg to my feet, had turned extremely dark. But between the chemotherapy, and then I had surgery, then I had radiation. But with the combination, it impacted my my heart, my breathing, my joints. So it definitely had a tremendous impact. And as I stated, I was on my dying bed because I guess my white blood cells had dropped so low until I had to be hospitalized for about a week. No one could come around me. They had to, those that did, was very limited. They had to be gowned, mask, gown, everything covered. And I was in the hospital about a week, and it was so low. It took probably about 3 or 4 days for it to even get to maybe a 1 or a 2, to like a 2. And I think 4 was kind of the range where you're a little comfortable, where you're okay. But to say all of that, it really had a harsh impact on me until they had to pre-medicate me to be able to endure the chemo, the next dose. They had to even postpone my next treatment because I had to build up strength. I had to, revitalize to be able to endure it. And as I said, that they started pre-medicating me, and they had to watch me during the pre-medication to make sure I was able to endure that before they can even start with the treatments again. And during that phase, my primary oncologist had gone on vacation, and I had another physician, and I was explaining to her that I don't think I want to continue with the treatments because it was so bad. Because during the time when I had lost all my skin, it's like a baby, I couldn't touch anything. And I guess I'm strong-willed and determined. I did not have like a potty in my room to use the restroom. I was determined to get to the bathroom. So I had to crawl, literally crawl, to go to the bathroom where my feet wasn't touching the floor. And I would use the back of my hands to get to the bathroom because I was determined to keep going and to try to be as normal as possible. But there's so much more I could say with that, but I endured. I got through it. The regret I have is that I was not able to attend my daughter's high school graduation, which was something I had looked forward to all her life. So my family was able to go, and her godmother called me during the time she was going across stage, and she took pictures and sent to me. So that was really heartbreaking for me. But I managed to get through. But the pain and agony that I went through going through the treatment was extremely severe. But like I say, everyone doesn't go through it.
Right. Is there anything that you wish you would have known before you started treatment?
Pretty much the side effects, although I knew most of it, but I didn't know all of it. And all of it, I don't think, was displayed specifically. But I just still thank God that there was treatment for me to get in order for me to survive. And I think that with my faith and determination, I was able to get through. I had great doctors. My oncologist, I want to say a shout out to Dr. John Cole with Oxnard Breast Center. He was awesome. And Dr. Fitzpatrick, and there's so many others that helped me to get through. But I just say that if anybody's going through it, I pay homage to those who have succumbed to breast cancer. I honor those who may be going through, and just want to say, don't give up. Keep the faith and know that God is going to see you through. And I just honor those breast cancer survivors that's out there. And just like me, I would like them to tell their story, because it could help somebody that's going through, or somebody who may not have been diagnosed yet, but because they heard your story, and then if they get that diagnosis, they will have the faith to know that they can make it through. Yeah. It's been 11 years, praise God. And although I still have many of the side effects, I just push through it and keep going.
So what was your biggest self-discovery or revelation after you heard that you were diagnosed with breast cancer?
I would say that my faith grew stronger in knowing that I was having a Job moment. He lost everything, his wealth, his health, his family, and that it could be worse. The situation could be worse. And knowing that as long as I trust and believe and do what I'm supposed to do, that I will make it through. The cancer diagnosis that I was given was a very aggressive cancer. It was triple negative, and it's prominent amongst Black females. So I just want to just extend to everyone, make sure you have your yearly mammograms. If you feel something, go get it checked. Even if you don't feel anything, examine yourself and go and get yourself checked, not just for females, but males also, because males do get breast cancer. And I just want to employ to everyone that in the event that you are going through, just keep the faith and know that God is going to be with you.
So, you know, a lot of people who have breast cancer or any type of cancer, especially if you're a loved one, what were some things that you feel like was important to you that you needed? Was it just like company or just a smile, or was it an object? A lady at my church, she had a pillow with scriptures on it, and she said, I slept with this pillow every night, and she passed it along to another person that had breast cancer. So for your loved ones, how can they help you? What is it that you guys are seeking during that time?
Oh, family support is truly important. I thank God for my husband. He stuck by me. My daughter stuck by me as much as she could. She was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Other family members intervened as needed, because, you know, she had to do the prom and all of that. And I wasn't able to be there for a lot of her events or to go out shopping for her and to do things that I really wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
So family members stepping in was truly important. There was, other than reading my scriptures and just calling them out and reminding God, you said in your word, you know, and just standing on Philippians 4:13, that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That helped to get me through. I wasn't up to a whole lot of company during that time, and you shouldn't be. You know, when you're going through chemo, they tell you don't be around a whole lot of people. And back then, wearing a mask was not popular. And if people saw you with a mask, they were like, ooh, you know, try to stay away from you, thinking you're the sick one, which you are sick, but really you have it on so that you wouldn't contract anything from others, you know. But yeah, I just pretty much just read the Bible and tried to enjoy, you know, the family that was able to be there for me.
That's good. And what year was this that you say you found out about
In
it?
2011.
2011. So were you working at Dillard during the time?
No, at that time I was working at the University of New Orleans.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
So, well, now at Dillard, like, I walked down to your office and there's like pink decorations on the door. So it seems like you get very festive with it. So what pushes you to kind of like continue to decorate? I know you're an interior decorator, but why is it so important for you to continue to spread awareness about this?
That's a good question, because I know October is Nationally Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but as a breast cancer survivor, breast cancer awareness 365 days of the year, is every day. So I keep something in my office to display, to bring attention to anyone who comes in my office. I periodically, you know, even wear my breast cancer survivor shirts, and just to bring awareness on a regular basis, not just October. October, yes, is more pronounced decorating, but I feel it's important because sometimes people go day to day and they don't realize or don't think about it. Maybe they haven't gone through it or don't know anyone who has gone through it. But I think it's important for people to be aware that breast cancer is real, and it doesn't just happen in October. It happens any time of the year. It was February when I was diagnosed. But to bring awareness, just in case, if you're not experiencing it, maybe a family member may be experiencing it. So something I may share or something you may see through me, you can share with someone else.
So what type of support, when you did come to Dillard and people found out, like, oh, you're a survivor, what type of support did you receive from students, faculty, and staff? Because I know they recognize you in your pink, the office, so they have
Yes.
to think like, oh, she must be a survivor. So,
Oh, absolutely. Even the nameplate on my desk has the pink ribbon on it. So, but yeah, very supportive over the years. The student bodies, even the organizations, they have acknowledged me for breast cancer awareness and want to just bring homage to me. And so it's been very supportive from upper administration to faculty, staff, students, and I just applaud everyone and just love everyone for doing that. Thank you.
So, is there any awareness tips or just anything you can give to people that might, need to do their self-examination or have learned that they have breast cancer and need to navigate through it?
Absolutely. I would say, like I say, check yourself on a regular basis. Get your yearly mammograms. Definitely, if you have been diagnosed, join the support group, because I was able to, when I was going through, attend many of the support group sessions, which was helpful to some of the others, just hearing what I had gone through. Some of them wasn't as positive or spiritual, but when they heard my story, it made them think, because although their treatment wasn't as harsh as mine, it made them appreciate what they were going through. So I would say definitely have a support system and make sure you get yourself checked on a regular basis.
All right, lastly, is there anything else you would like to add to this interview about your story or anything about others dealing with breast cancer?
I just want to tell everyone that life is short, and you have to appreciate time and appreciate yourself and appreciate your loved ones. Make sure you help spread the word and to encourage others. If you may have family members who haven't had a mammogram, or if you have a history of breast cancer in your family, make sure you seek your physician to see, is it something I need to look into? Is it something I need to start getting my mammograms now? So don't ignore anything, because sometimes we can do yourself a disadvantage by thinking it's normal or it's going to go away. No, get it checked and make sure you're paying attention to your body, and make sure you're being supportive to others who may be going through.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Spellman. It was really a delight talking to you, and thanks for feeling comfortable with us and Dillard in general, just to be able to share your story across all of our platforms. And I know that it'll inspire other people. You probably get a lot more new friends and visitors coming down there, just to kind of see, because you are a breath of fresh air, and it's a blessing that you're still here to talk to us.
Amen. And I thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to tell my story.
Yes.
And I just want to thank everyone who may be watching, to let them know that I love you, and you can always come and see me if you have any questions.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.